Welcome to this Dugtrio analysis video. I'm excited to go through this run with all of you. This is my 5th finish of 6 that I completed, and I did a total of 28 attempts with Dugtrio. It is the least consistent of the 3 two-stage mono ground types introduced in Generation 1, and I think that it should be pretty self-evident that that was going to be the case. It has low HP, 35 base HP, and 120 speed, giving it a 23.44 chance to crit. Its base 70 special is nice because this is a little bit higher than Marowak's, so it just tanks hits from water type and grass type moves a little bit better. Okay, so let's talk about this run. If you made it into this video and you already watched the whole versus video and the first analysis video, thanks for checking out my stuff. I really appreciate it because these are long videos. In the early game, Dugtrio is by far the easiest of the 3 Pokemon to use. Dig has 100% accuracy. There is a chance that I can reset to Brock, so if Dig goes underground turn 1, Brock uses Bide, and then I attack the Onix, it will take some damage, not get knocked out. Then I go underground, it can pay back damage while I'm underground, and knock Dugtrio out. You might be confused by that. Aren't you invulnerable? No, Bide bypasses accuracy checks, and when you bypass accuracy checks in Generation 1, you can hit Pokemon that are flying or digging. It's really annoying, so there is the chance to lose, and I think that that's one of the reasons that Dugtrio had so many attempts when compared with the other Pokemon. Marowak had 15, Dugtrio had 28, so it's like almost double. I had a lot of times where I had to just restart at Brock to try again because he got me with Bide, and then I would also get stopped later on with Sandy. He's so annoying. At least unlike Marowak, I can just damage the Pidgey here in Viridian Forest and catch it with a single Pokeball, so I don't have to worry about buying extra Pokeballs at the beginning of the game. With Marowak lost a little bit of time because I had to drop the Pokeballs that I didn't use to get inventory space, but with Dugtrio, if you only have one Pokeball, after you throw it, it's just gone. Also, did you note there that I used Growl on this Caterpie? It's kind of weird choice, right? It's a Caterpie, it's bad, probably shouldn't need to do that. No, you do. This Caterpie is terrifying if you don't Growl it. If, like, you can see there, I got 5 hit points by the end of the battle. Yeah, it's so scary because it resists Dig. It's a bug type. So using that Growl lowers its damage, then you don't have to worry about it. And I'm just going to go straight to Brock. I don't need more PP on Dig to fight him. 5 is enough. I can just go underground, 2-shot the Geodude, and then sometimes it's a 3-hit on the Onix, I think. Yeah, okay, 85.4% chance to 2-hit the Onix. And you can notice here, I caught the Bide before it happened, and then used Growl to stall it out and attacked again with Dig. I can't wait to talk about the funny Bide interactions that we discovered when I do the Sandslash analysis video, but I'll leave those for that one. Okay, I just healed here. This is incredibly important because on Route 3, you just almost don't have enough PP to make it all the way without having to rely on Scratch. Here, I lucked out. I crit this Caterpie, twice actually. Good job, Dugtrio. Normally I'm going to be alternating between, I do Dig, Scratch, Scratch on the first Caterpie, and then Dig, Scratch on the Weedle, and then Dig, Scratch on the final Caterpie. You level up into the final Caterpie over a damage rounding threshold, which gives you more damage, and sometimes you've been hit by String Shot, which it can increase your attack damage. Like, you don't get it for the last one because you level up, but sometimes because of String Shot, you get badge boosts, and then you get through that fight a little bit quicker. Next guy, Youngster Ben's not a problem. This lass, not a problem. She should probably have art. I talk about her all the time. I'm fighting her so that I have 3 digs left for this guy, the Bug Catcher, who has Caterpie and Metapod. I want to be able to use 2 digs here on the Caterpie to knock it out in 2 turns, and then I didn't want to dig the Metapod, so this is where I switched to Scratch, just because that gives it a Harden. That's its only move. I don't want to give it a Harden if I can prevent it, and I might just crit right away doing massive damage. If I didn't go back to heal, it would have taken me way longer to get through there because I would have to rely on Scratch much more. And even when Dig is resisted, it does more damage than Scratch. Funny story, I sat down to record this video and I didn't press the record button and I got about to the rival in Sylph. Then I looked down and realized it wasn't recording and I was like, oh, that's really embarrassing, so I guess I have to re-record. Anyways, during that, I was talking a little bit about why I fight this super nerd and this hiker, and I realized while spouting words that I didn't actually have a good reason for fighting these two, other than just getting a little bit more experience with Dugtrio feels good. This is an emotional choice. I'm not super happy when I make emotional choices in my runs that don't have an actual purpose in the playthrough, but it turns out that it ends up synergizing all together to give me everything I need to get to the mid-game at the level that I need to face the rival, and then get to Lorelai at level 63, which is my target for this run. When I sit down to play a run and internalize a run, memorize a run, play it, do it multiple times, I have to sort of give myself signposts, and those are typically when I use rare candies and what level I need to be for specific, very challenging trainers. That way, if I accidentally mess something up a little bit because I'm forgetful or I make an input mistake, I can get back on track and go like, no, I need to target level 40 for Koga or something like that. 40 is typically too low for Koga, by the way, unless you have a type advantage. 40 is what my go-to level for the rival, and that is my target for this run. Then my target is 48 for just before Blaine, so I can rare candy to 58. And then 62 before Lorelai, so one rare candy brings me to 63. I'm going to fight this swimmer, and this is, again, a more emotional choice. It's like, I wanted enough experience to just level up one more time before fighting the rival on Nugget Bridge, and I might as well fight her while I'm here because she's mandatory and get the experience now rather than later. It'll just make damage ranges a little bit better, that sort of thing. Like, I'm coming in here anyways. I could leave, save a few steps, but I felt like it was okay to just fight her. Let's talk about the rival on the bridge. This fight is awful. I genuinely don't like the early game with Dugtrio after Brock until you get to Surge, and sometimes when you face Surge, it's also awful. This thing loves to use Growl. It hits me with it 3 times in this playthrough, but then Dugtrio's innate speed comes through for me, and I crit the Sandshrew, I crit the Rattata, and I crit the Eevee, giving me a fast win, even though my attack was lower 3 times. Yeah. I got lucky there. Very lucky. I saved time. Also, this heal right after the rival, you don't like to do this with Pokemon because you have to loop around the Pokemon Center. It wastes a lot more than 5 seconds, maybe like 7 or 8. You don't want to do that if you can prevent it, but when you have a move that has such small PP like Dig, it does make sense. Okay. Nugget Bridge, this area is awful, so you have to 2-hit the Caterpie. You 2-hit with you have 77% chance to 2-hit with Scratch, and only a crit will 1-hit if you use Dig. Then on this last, 90% chance, 90.6% chance to 2-hit the Pidgey. This Zubat in the next fight, I have a 2-hit with Scratch. That's annoying because it can Supersonic you, and this gets so close. I hit myself in Confusion twice down to red health. Like, that one was so stressful. I'm really glad I made it through there. Then this last, 41% chance to 2-hit with Scratch, so it's much lower. That range there is, the 41% is just because I get to roll for 2 critical hits. That increases my chances of 2-hitting it because it's likely that one of those might be a crit. Or it's more likely that one of the attacks might be a critical hit. Once again, this guy's annoying because he has a Zubat, and I have to 2-hit it with Scratch. In comparison, Dugtrio has Scratch, 40 base power, high crit rate. Okay, great. So it's going to get like maybe 60 to 70 effective power if it crits, because it's not a 2x modifier in Gen 1. It's based on level, and my level is low, so the crit modifier is lower. If you have Marowak, 70 base power, reliable headbutt, 80 base power, Mega Punch, and 97 effective power Bone Club if it's neutral. But Marowak is feeling better in this place. It's inconsistent because of accuracy, which is annoying, but Dugtrio really feels like it's just much more inconsistent. Sandslash, planning for Slash for Rival 2 makes Sandslash speed through this area. It just crushes everyone. Unlike Marowak, I am not going to talk to that hiker and get the extra experience. This guy's mandatory, so you have to fight him anyways. Okay. Note here my PP. So I'm going to 1-hit the Oddish, and I believe I would have 2-hit the Pidgey if I didn't get a crit. But now I have 4 digs left. This is enough to defeat Misty. By far, Dugtrio has the easiest Misty split. But that doesn't mean we're through the woods yet. There's still some awful stuff before we get to Surge. Although, Misty is not one of the trainers. The only way she can beat me, Bubble Beam has 71 to 86% damage with a regular hit. So, she will win if she crits. Dig does 58 to 68% damage, so it's going to 2-hit, and Dugtrio will 1-hit if it gets a critical hit. Plus, I'm faster than all of her Pokemon, so I can 1-hit the Staryu, even if it gets the X-Defend like it did there. Misty just uses X-Defend the turn I'm above ground, and I knock it out for free, so simple in this case. There's the chance that you lose, but it's very low. 22.3% chance for the Starmie to crit, so that's roughly the chance that you have to lose. Okay, most ground types, really happy when they get here. They get Dig, except if you're Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Then you can't learn Dig. Makes no sense. But it's like Nidorino learns it or something, Nidorina learns it, and then you can't get it once you're a Nidoqueen. Why? Why'd you do that, Game Freak? I kind of get it, but like, it bothers me. I think they should get Dig. Okay. Sandy, this is one of the worst battles in the entire run. So many of my playthroughs just stopped here. When I got to her, and I got hit by Sanitech turn 1, then Sanitech turn 2, and then Sanitech turn 3. I haven't even made it by the first Pidgey yet. Then they start quick attacking you, and you have like no HP because you're a Dugtrio. Then you lose. I was saving there. I would take 1 reset. If I got more than 1 reset, I would just restart the playthrough. Once again, another contributing factor to the reason that Dugtrio had so many attempts. And so few finishes. I've definitely thought about what the most fair approach to my format is. Like, should I do the same number of attempts with every Pokemon? Should I try and finish the game the same number of times? It's hard to line those two up, by the way, because then you have to say to yourself, like, this attempt isn't good enough. I'm going to discontinue here because I don't have enough finishes left to keep going. Like, I need, like, 1 good finish. So I don't like getting into that psychological game of, like, doing the same number of finishes with every Pokemon, so maybe I should do the same number of attempts. But then certain Pokemon would finish the game a lot more because they're more consistent. How do I put that into my rankings? It's complicated, it's probably the best way to do things, but I also don't have infinite time. If I say did 6 attempts with Dugtrio, then if I wanted to rank accurately against it with a Pokemon like Coughing, I would have to do 6 finishes with Coughing, which is going to take a lot more time. So I take a much more flexible approach, which I find more fun. I definitely prioritize my fun in this, which is I'm going to do attempts. The best attempt that I get, I'll rank the Pokemon based on, and then I'll allow myself to come back to that Pokemon later. Once the Pokemon has been played once and had their fully produced video released on the channel in that game, then I can play that Pokemon in that game whenever I want on stream to try and re-rank it. So my streams are always pulling from the pool of Pokemon that are not complete yet in fully produced videos. And then the produced videos are always Pokemon you haven't seen on stream. I think this keeps things interesting. There's a surprise element for all of you. You get highly produced content because I don't want to just become the person that only streams. I've had so many like YouTubers that I was watching personally, and then they realize like, oh, streaming is really good financially. I'll just keep doing this. And my produced videos, they take so much effort. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm always going to make the produced videos. I really believe that they are the higher quality artistic product, and I want to make sure that, or entertainment product, and I want to make sure that I'm providing that. I saved 1 PP of Dig here to one-shot the Raichu. And when I do not get a Gen 1 miss, this works out for Dugtrio. I'm now 2 minutes and 12 seconds ahead of my first playthrough time. Not a huge lead this early into the game, but that's largely because Dugtrio, there's not that many problems that can happen up until this point, other than things that like really derail an entire playthrough, especially if they really derail like a follow-up playthrough. Like for instance, I'm gonna lose like 30 seconds to a minute on Sandy in a first run, because in the first run I force myself to finish. Like, the rule set that I have for myself internally, and I should probably write this down somewhere, is for a first playthrough, you have to finish. It's not about fixing mistakes, it's just about getting through the run. Like, it's not about being optimal. Get through the run, finish with the Pokemon, then look back, reflect, then become optimal. For second playthroughs, if it looks like something is going to be like really bad RNG or delay my time, I'm just going to discontinue playing the run. Okay, wrapping last. You have to dig, body slam, dig, body slam. I contemplated there going for body slam on the second oddish. It's like a 64% chance, I think. Let's look it up. Where is it? It's right here. Okay. It is body slam 64.7% chance to one-hit the oddishes. I could have tried to save the one turn from dig by using body slam on the second oddish, and I was going to be safe against the first oddish, but I could have body slammed it as well, just body slammed 4 times, really simple. I didn't think that that was the best balance of risk versus reward. Now this brings me back to something. You could view this as a mistake if you want to be like, what's the fastest Dugtrio could do? Well, that's a mistake then. Don't do that. Just body slam. You can one-hit those 2 Pokemon and not get hit by Stun Spore. You'll be fine. That said, I did want to talk about my mistakes because I've noticed I've got a few comments over the last like maybe 6 months that are saying like, hey, you focus a lot on your mistakes, or like, I think I might be reading into this with my own internal bias, but the sentiment to me comes across like maybe you're being a little bit too self-deprecating, or you're like focusing too much on your flaws as a player and a person. Maybe you should just like, you don't need to talk about them as much, that kind of thing. Well, the reason I like to talk about them is because there are always choices to be made, and there's also like a route that someone else might want to sit down and play. There are lots of people in the community, Austin, Ike the Killer, Zealous Pawn now, Red Ryosi, Axu Karisara, Speedrunner, Steve M Plays. There's a whole bunch of people in the community who play runs like this. And if someone else sat down to use one of my videos as research for a video they're making, or if they want to do the run just for fun, you want to do the run for fun, because like Apple recently released emulators on their app store. Maybe you want to do a Dugtrio run in your lunch break every day. Like I used to do Pokemon playthroughs in my lunch break at Best Buy when I had bought the 3DS that had red and blue on it. I completed the red and blue Pokedex while on lunch breaks. It was very fun. My girlfriend at the time and I were both playing the game, so we would trade with each other and we completed the Pokedex. It was great. Doing that, we actually completed the Pokedex in X and Y as well. Living Dex too. I have Living Dexes for a bunch of these games. I should show them off at some point. Anyways, you might want to do this run, and so I want to go through and detail the most important aspects of it so that you could sit down and play it yourself and make different choices. Like, oh, that Earthquake he used there is actually a mistake. I need to not do that. I need to do Rock Slide instead. That's rarely the case with ground types because you only want to hit flying Pokemon with Rock Slide. That's why I try and talk about my mistakes, is so that you have awareness around them and they don't influence what you would choose to do if you wanted to do the playthrough yourself. I also think by focusing on my mistakes, I am more aware of where my flaws are, and that allows me to better adequately address them. Like, for instance, I have a strong bias towards not using Quick Attack, even when I have priority with it, and I should use it to knock the enemy Pokemon out. So I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to improve in those ways. Okay, so I was mentioning Rock Slide during that, and I want to mention it here. This was the one major thing that I figured out with Dugtrio late into my development of these playthroughs, is that using Rock Slide throughout the mid-game doesn't make a lot of sense. It has low accuracy, it does do more damage than Slash to Flying-type Pokemon, but it really doesn't solve other problems, and I want to keep it for the late game. If I'm going to use Dig, Mimic, and Earthquake, plus Rest for Lorelai, I can't have Rock Slide on my moveset earlier into the game. We did contemplate, during my Marowak video, I said maybe it would make more sense for these Pokemon to give up Earthquake later into the game. So like, get it so that you can one-shot a whole bunch of stuff with only one turn, then lose it at Lorelai because there's so few battles left that the time from Dig can't accumulate very much, and they have the same base power. So that might be an option to keep Rock Slide around for a little bit longer, but from what I've seen, you don't really need it because it doesn't solve any problems outside of this Fearow that I wouldn't solve with Slash or Body Slam. So there's like a few moments where like maybe it speeds things up, but it could also just miss. I think it's an okay strategy to hold off on teaching Rock Slide until before Agatha and just utilize Slash throughout the mid game. With the guaranteed critical hits, it's going to roughly have about 130 effective power, whereas Rock Slide with super effective damage will have 150. People will sometimes chime in with the average damage, and average damage is not super relevant for solo playthroughs. It's more of a theoretical concept. I don't think it has a huge base in reality. So average damage is the idea that like over 2 turns, Rock Slide has a certain percentage chance to miss, or over 100 turns, Rock Slide has a certain percentage chance to miss, 10%. So if we subtract 10% of the total damage pool, is it similar to Slash? And the answer is yes, because Slash will fail to crit about like less than 1% of the time, and it will fail to hit 1% of the time because of Gen 1 miss, but Rock Slide will miss much more. So if we pool the total damage and then subtract the damage from Rock Slide, we'll get more of an equivalence, but this is not a great way of looking at it because turns in battle are a real thing. So for example, if you use Wing Attack over 2 turns in Gen 1, 35 base power, or Fly over 1 turn in battle, they are not equivalent, because Fly deals all of its damage at one time, meaning if you outspeed, you will never get hit, whereas Wing Attack deals its damage in 2 bursts, meaning you will get hit once. So there's almost like the secondary factor in the average damage equation ends up being how much damage does your Pokemon expose itself to having to move on multiple turns. Maybe at some point I'll try and graph this or something to give a better visual representation of it, but for now it's just in my brain. In general, you want to be doing as much damage every turn as possible. So less damage on the turn is worse, in most cases. Unless you're going to put them in healing range of an item. Then you want to do less damage so they don't heal, then knock them out on the next turn. Avoiding the heal, unless you want to, like, there's so much context here. Unless you want to, like, burn through all their items, and then they can't use items on a more important Pokemon like Ludicolo. The nightmare that thing truly is. Cycling Road. Gonna fight trainers here to get experience. My goal level for the rival in Sylph is 40. This level is very risky. Now I need to talk about something else here, which is crit rates. Crit rates cause weird things to happen when you're looking for damage ranges against certain Pokemon in solo runs. I have a 41.8% chance to 2-hit the Cloyster that the rival has. This 41.8% chance is largely there because of my crit rate. So sometimes when you're routing a Pokemon, in Gen 1 specifically, if you notice that as you increase your level, the damage range doesn't increase, the damage range is set at a certain number and it can't go above that number for a little while because your Pokemon is able to knock it out in that number of turns because of its crit rate. So you're rolling the dice multiple times and you're more likely to get 1 crit during that time. With Dugtrio, its damage ranges do improve here in the rival fight fairly quickly, so if I go up to 43, I'll get a guarantee on the Cloyster for a 2-hit with Dig. I just didn't want to do those extra 2 levels. I crunched the math while recording this video and not actually recording this video to see if I could do the same thing that Marowak did, where I went to Celadon City, fought all the trainers in Celadon Gym, then fought Erica, then came back, or then went to Sylph and completed Sylph. The problem with doing that is that the damage ranges are just not good enough against Erica's Gloom. I max out with about a 30% chance to knock it out in 1 turn, and I have to 3-hit the Tangela with Body Slam. It's just not quite good enough, and things don't line up in the same way. Marowak has Ice Beam, which is super effective, and then it also has more experience from earlier into the game, because I had to train for Misty to be a higher level, 26. But with Dugtrio, I didn't have to do that training, so it's at a lower level now. So I'd have to do more training at this point in the game. I felt that losing that time was just not worth it, so I decided to go for the riskier strategy here against the rival's Cloyster. I end up paying for that, so judge me in the comments, I guess. I did my best. Alright, I think you have to fight that guy. Even with Sandslash, I fought him. The rare candy is great. Carbos is kind of helpful for some of the Pokemon. For Dugtrio, it's very important. I got a Carbos there and in the Safari Zone. These Carbos are going to give me the speed that I need to move first against Sabrina's Alakazam once I finish Sylph. So all the training here brings me to 40 for the rival. I level up twice during that fight, and then I level up after Giovanni. And then after that, I go and fight... Do I fight Sabrina now? I guess I fight Sabrina later in this run. No, wait. Where is she? Looking for her. I think I fight Erica first, or maybe I moved that event or something. Probably moved. I think I fight Sabrina right after Sylph. Because I should have 134 or 135 speed. Yeah, 134 speed after Sylph. I'm going to slow the footage down here and punch in with a little bit of an extra voiceover edition that I'm doing after I recorded this sort of director's commentary analysis. I'm going to do 3 of these in this video because I need to address some comments that I got on the main video, which I think are relevant for Dugtrio. The first one I got is, I don't need to hold on to Dig on its set for very long because I could just teach it to Charmander using the TM. And that is true for my first playthrough in the main video, but for follow-up playthroughs that's not going to be true because I need to keep Dig for Lorelai. Okay, let's get back to my commentary. This guy is not great. I think I might try and do something slightly more intelligent here in the future if I was coming back to do this run. And of the 3 Pokemon, it is most likely that I'll come back to do Dugtrio at some point in the future. There's a whole bunch of runs that I have on my mind that I want to at some point redo, like Executor, Dugtrio now, Magneton. I can get a lower time with Magneton. I'll come back and try him again. Lapras is top of the list, though. Those are the Pokemon, though, that I've run recently. There are also Pokemon that I haven't run in a long time that I do need to do redos with, so they will be getting priority, just so we have a healthy rotation on the channel. I don't want to become like the, I don't know, the Butterfree man, and all I ever do is play the game with Butterfree. Don't talk to the door. Just wastes time. The scientists here, there are 3 scientists. They're really good to fight. One has 5 Pokemon, one has 4, and one has 3. The next one is when I go through the teleport pad by the Arbok guy. They're generally worth fighting if you want levels. Look at my speed, 118. This thing is ridiculous. So good. Yep, gonna fight him. The three Pokemon scientists. My brain just had to take a small break there. I should also get some water. You should all get water too. Hydrate. This guy, Hypno Rocket. He's one of the scarier rockets. If you get caught off guard by him, Confuse Ray from the Golbat, then Hypnosis from the Drowsy, Hypnosis from the Hypno. It's bad. Heal. Get the max potion. Don't need the max potion. Sometimes it clutters up your inventory if you don't have the max potion from the SSN. I did have to go to that wing of the ship today. Because I had to go over there in the ship, it sometimes makes sense to pick up the max potion if you still have it. The hyper potion here, like picking up both the max potion and the hyper potion, if it's going to take 2 inventory slots and you don't do a deposit in Celadon City, you can lose a lot of time. Just like opening your inventory, looking through it, deciding on an item to get rid of, tossing the item, like all of that stacks up and really costs. It has a tangible cost. It's much easier to just plan ahead for it and never have to fumble. Okay, rival, let's see how this goes. Level 40, going in under 30 minutes of time. Pretty good. Sandslash, it's going to be a 79 roughly % chance to knock out. This first fight was just terribly unlucky. I went for Sand Attack twice. Really what I wanted to do is like Poison Sting, do almost no damage, or Swift. If it does those or misses Sand Attack, then I'm in the clear. Slash is not good because it deals so much damage, as you can see there. Then the Cloister will get me if it chooses something other than Withdraw. That's another win condition though. It can just spam Withdraw and you crit. Like it goes like Withdraw, crit, Withdraw, crit. It's like, okay, great, got it. But I'm getting unlucky here. Like Mist against the Cloister, Aurora Beam lowers my attack, hits Aurora Beam again. Like, bleh. Hopefully though you can see the paths to victory here. Like, it's not just, oh, I have to get a crit and 2-hit. Like, no, it's not. Like, the Sand Slash can do nothing for a while. The Cloister can just Aurora Beam once and then get knocked out like that. Or it can just spam Withdraw and I can win like that. Kadabra, really annoying, very scary, and it does get me in this case because I had my accuracy lowered. So that's why you really don't want to see Sand Attack. In some cases, when doing this battle, I just restart the fight if it uses Sand Attack first turn, because that ends up costing the least amount of time. It's really painful when you make it all the way to the Kadabra or the Flareon and they knock you out because of Sand Attack. Okay, that's a good scenario against the Sand Slash. Swift once, Aurora Beam on the Cloister. I don't get the 2-hit, but it knocks me out, so. Hopefully we're building the case slowly for level 43 in this battle, but level 43 comes at a cost. If you use rare candies before this, then you can't get to Lorelai at the level 63, and you basically defer the pain of the Cloister. Either the Cloister is painful here, or the Cloister is painful later on. I think it's better to put pain earlier on into the run and luck earlier on into the run, and then more reliable strategies later. When you're on track for a personal best, and you're like 35 minutes into a run, it's really painful having 6 resets all at once. But the reason I kept going is because I had reordered my mid-game, and I wanted to see how this strategy would play out. Plus, I have to get by the wall that is Lorelai and then Lance. There's some other small problems in there, but Koga, for example, can cause issues sometimes. Getting through all of that with no resets would still give me a really good time with this run. So I'll continue. That's why I decided to continue. A mindset that's been really helpful for me working on these videos, one of the reasons my versus videos constantly get delayed is because I don't think my strategy is good enough. Like, I'll sit down, I'll play 4 runs one day, and then I'll go, you know, like, I'm just not getting the times I want. It's a little bit inconsistent. I had 6 resets to the rival in Sylph. If I just play this again, I'll get better times. And I'll just refine my strategy a little bit more. No save or heal for Sabrina, as I said before. 134 speed after all the Sylph stuff, meaning I outspeed everything. The Alakazam can hit me with, like, a crit Psychic or something like that and knock me out, but, like, it's probably not going to. I'm going to make it through. Okay, back to Celadon City to fight Erica. Talking about the versus videos and why they're delayed. It's generally just not happy with my strategy. Because I'm not happy with my strategy, I want to keep taking time, and then the releases get delayed because I don't want to do voiceover for a playthrough that is not a good playthrough. I want to wait, do voiceover for the playthrough that I think is most representative of the best strategy I found. And then sometimes they get delayed because I have a good strategy, but the problem is that I can't get the strategy to cooperate. I keep getting resets at annoying portions, or I make mistakes, human error, that sort of thing. And I'm like, well, I don't really have a run that like shows all the things that I want to demonstrate with footage. Then I'll keep filming and trying to find one that's going to have everything I need in it. Okay, after Erica, then we're going to go to Koga. Unlike Marowak, I am not going to use rare candies here. Dugtrio has decent damage ranges. It's going to be level 46 by the time I take on Koga. 96% chance on the first Venonat, 62.7% chance on the second Venonat, and only 29 against the third one. 2 hit on the Venomoth. I felt these ranges were okay. Again, moving rare candies further back will require that I fight trainers in Blaine's gym or something like that, which is what Marowak did. I did not want to spend time doing that. I'll just do my training here. The Tamers, the 2 Jugglers, Koga, he'll give me experience. Then I'll fight the Fisher going south. And I fight 2 trainers in Cinnabar Mansion. And then 10 rare candies before Blaine. Blaine is kind of a nightmare. I'll take away the rare candies and just talk through those damage ranges quickly. One hit on Ninetales and Rapidash with no rare candies, but 2 hit on the Arcanine. 10 rare candies makes them all 1 hits. Okay, time for Koga. I teach Mimic before this fight, which is an advantage of getting the speed to move first against Sabrina and not having to backtrack to Saffron. I do that specifically so if I get messed up by not one-hitting one of these early Venonats, that I can Mimic Sleep Powder from the third one and use it against Venomoth to put it to sleep so that I get 2 turns to attack it without it striking back with Psychic. I had a really unlucky loss there, got hit by Sleep Powder and just didn't wake up. That was like, not really, that's rarely going to happen. So yeah, Mimic here is only a fallback. Like in this case, I haven't taken enough damage. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm going to survive the Venomoth. Whatever it does, he can use the next attack, like something like that, useless. And that's that. Okay, Blaine's next. I talked last time about how all of these events lining up like this means you don't have to backtrack for the Warden's Rare Candy. That can be really dangerous too. There's a certain amount of mistake prevention that I try to build into my routes, which is like, how do you make it so that you just don't do really silly things? Like getting to Victory Road and then realizing I don't have strength. One way that happens is you fight Koga before Erica, and then you fight Erica. You don't remember you need to go back and get strength. You make it to Victory Road and you're like, oh yeah, like I messed that up. Then you have to fly all the way back, lose a whole bunch of walking time, and it's so painful. I'm realizing right now I have to make one more edit to the versus video. I forgot to show the one time that I dug out of Victory Road. Because I used, with one of these Pokemon, I accidentally dug out of Victory Road. The 3 major things that like popped up in my mind as like hilarious mistakes. These mistakes I focus on because they're funny. Digging out of Victory Road, Gen 1 missing on Surge and losing, and then Gen 1 missing on the Victory Bell and getting put to sleep and losing with Sandslash. Okay, this is my second additional note because you won't have seen that footage in the main video. That's because I recorded this commentary right after I did the Dugtrio run, rather than after the main video was completed. I think in the future, if I'm going to release more analysis-style videos like this, I will probably wait until the main video releases to do my commentary, just so that I can have a dialogue with any comments you leave on the main video. Okay, that's it for that one. Let's get back to it. I fight this guy. This guy's actually good. You have to answer the questions in yellow version. Anyone who tells me that I don't have to answer the questions, I know there's going to be like a ton of comments on this video about like, don't answer the questions, just talk to the trainers. No, you can't. You have to ask the questions first. In yellow version, that's how it works. In red and blue, you can just talk to the trainers, they'll fight you, then the door opens if you win. In yellow version, if you talk to the trainers, they just chit chat with you and then they stop talking to you and you just sit there and the doors close and you don't fight them and it's annoying. You can talk to them again, it doesn't do anything. When you answer the question, if you answer it correctly, the door opens. Then if you talk to the trainer, you can fight them. Or if you answer the question wrong, then they just battle you. Yeah, 10 rare candies, level 58. This is going to ensure that I get to the level I need for Lorelai, with very few optional battles throughout this section of the game. Also, I get the one hits on all these Pokemon and obviously the outspeeds. Simple. So, with Blaine out of the way, our splits are starting to line up again with what we had in our first run. Once I defeat Giovanni, then we'll get the accurate comparison. And you can see I'm just like much faster. Much faster. Only mandatory battles in this gym. You level up after the final Black Belt's Pokemon, and then you level up after Giovanni's final Pokemon. But it doesn't really matter because you're not setting up anyways. The only damage range in the Giovanni fight that's annoying is the Persian. 70.6% chance to knock it out in one hit. So it could like Screech you or use Slash. I think Screech is scarier because then the Rhydon's Earthquake will hit harder. It does between 63 and 74% damage when your defense is full. So Rhydon can get you if the Persian Screeches. Or the Persian Slashes because it does like half damage. And then the Dugtrio, Rhydon can knock you out. Thing is, it doesn't really matter because the Rhydon's bad, and Giovanni likes to use guard specs. Also Horn Drill, Fury Attack, Rock Slide. He does all the things that are not good. In this case, Fury Attack. Apparently he inspired Blue, because in Generation 2, Blue uses Fury Attack a lot with his Rhydon, when he should be using Earthquake or Rock Slide. Okay, Giovanni. I am 5 minutes and 12 seconds ahead of my former pace. Quite good. No encounters there like Marowak, despite risking it. Okay, this rival fight, probably the second area where I'm least satisfied with this run. I do not have good damage range on the Execute, 17.9% chance to one hit. So I do put it in potion range, as you saw there, so he heals it. It can also just go for Solar Beam, Leech Seed. Think it can... maybe not Poison Powder. No, it goes for its grass moves. Leech Seed, Stun Spore, or Solar Beam. So roughly a 1 in 3 chance for it to paralyze me. If it paralyzes me, I reset right away. I don't want to play that out. Because the Kadabra will move first and the Cloyster will move first. And I'm going to 2-hit the Cloyster. 21% chance to 1 hit. Okay, heading to the Elite Four. I think, I don't think I battle too many people in Victory Road. It's like 4 people. The Cool Trainer at the entrance, the Juggler, yeah, the Cool Trainer, and then the Black Belt. You should battle the Black Belt before. I'm battling him after because I probably forgot which trainers I was supposed to fight, and then I was like, oh, I need more experience. The Black Belt, that's the guy. And then I fought him. Small amount of overworld time lost there. In general, you want to fight trainers that are along the beaten path, so you don't have to go out of your way to encounter someone. Every step counts. Like, fighting these 2 people is very good, because they're both... You have to take no steps off where you would have to go anyways to fight them. Black Belt and Juggler are both the same scenarios. The Cool Trainers, I think you need like 1 or 2 extra steps to get the Cool Trainers later on, but that's not enough for it to be inconvenient. You also have to be careful. Some of the Victory Road trainers are quite good, so you have to be a little bit cautious to not fight the guy that has like Cloyster and Arcanine and Executor. He's that guy over there by the item. He can cause issues if you're not prepared. Also, the person with Parasect and Chansey and Dugong can cause issues. I generally don't like fighting her because of that. I'm just scared of getting hit by Spore. Okay. Fight this person. Is that 5 trainers? I think it might be 5 trainers. I think I messed this up. Yeah. See, I messed it up. So my experience, look at how low, like close it is. It's so close. So it's like, you don't want your experience to be that close. You want to actually get the level up. Do I fight a wild trainer here or do I just fight the Black Belt? I think I just fight the Black Belt. I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'll just fight 3 Pokemon. I don't want to like spend the extra time. Just like, let's black these out. We'll level up to 62 and we'll use 1 rare candy. So it's small time bleed there. That's a mistake, definitely. Like this, I didn't need to spend these like 6 or 7 seconds locking those 2 out. Yeah, 63. Okay, this is very key for Lorelai. I should have taught both Rest and Mimic. Oh, sorry, I already have Mimic, but I should have taught Rest when my menu was open, and I should have done it all in Lorelai's chamber so I could save at the same time, because I will take resets against her. I think in this run I was thinking that like 2 to 5 resets would be okay, but then after that it's like the time's gonna be too late. Because I'm trying to get, again, under 48 minutes. My previous personal best when I was playing this was 48 minutes and 41 seconds, so I'm trying to beat that. This fight's awful. If the Slowbro goes for Surf on the first turn, you basically lose. That is definitely not true, because you have another way to play around the Slowbro, which I just didn't think of when recording these runs. And I genuinely can't believe I didn't, because I was holding on to Dig to dodge the Dugong's first attack, but I can also use it to dodge Slowbro's first attack. Then on the second turn, when I attack it, it's going to use Withdraw, and after that, I can Mimic Amnesia. Because of Dugtrio's speed, I'm then going to move first on the next turn, setting up once before getting hit by Surf. While this isn't a foolproof strategy, it's definitely better than what I'm doing here, and it could definitely shave off some resets every now and again. because of this improvement alone, I really want to try Dugtrio again, going to level 43 before Rival 5, and then fighting Lorelai with this more consistent strategy, because I think that that might actually yield better results overall with more consistency. So you'll probably see me streaming another Dugtrio run sometime in the near future. Anyways, that's it for these comments. Let's get back to the commentary. You need to go for withdraw, but it's a 50-50 chance, and then the second turn it always uses withdraw because she has AM modification too. Critting the Dugong is nice. That's another benefit to using Dig, because it can't attack you and then you get one, like you would have anyways, but like you get it, you can get a crit and just knock it out. It's not good for Sandslash. When Sandslash crits the Dugong, you're like, oh, I wanted the turns to set up after it uses rest. But with Dugtrio, that's irrelevant. Just need to get the Dugong in the Cloister, and then Mimic Amnesia and start setting it up without getting KO'd. From there, you can set up with rest, and then generally you crit the Slowbro like this, because it's likely enough. And it will have set up with withdraw a whole bunch, so the crit is helpful in getting rid of it quickly. Major improvement over the first playthrough by this time, 14 minutes and 5 seconds faster, so really all of the time pays off there because I got stuck on Lorelai the first time around, but this time I didn't, knowing the dig strategy. I did not know the dig strategy before I played this video. Oh, actually, there's a fun thing. The Hitmonchan. I only have a 60.7% chance to one-hit the Hitmonchan. So it can Ice Punch and Freeze. It can. But remember, the Hitmonchan, if it Ice Punches and freezes, it will eventually use Fire Punch, defrost you, and then you can keep playing. So don't give up if you get frozen. Only give up when it knocks you out. Rock Slide over Dig. Again, we could do Rock Slide over Earthquake here if we want to run the same kind of strategy. And we want to keep Body Slam. Body Slam can really help. With Marowak, its damage range is going to help a lot more against like the Gyarados at the end. With Dugtrio, it's not really relevant. You just want Rock Slide for the Gyarados. This is enough. Okay, Lance, this is probably the second hardest battle in the run outside of Lorelai. The Rival 5 is like, I made it hard on myself so that I could get everything else to work, but he's not really that difficult. Lance, on the other hand, is. The Gyarados does a ton of damage with Hydro Pump, but as you can see, at level 65, I am able to survive it. Hydro Pump does 84 to 99% damage. 84 to 99% damage. In the worst possible case, without a crit, I will survive with 2 hit points. It's incredible. And then from there, I just mimic Ice Beam. I'm mimicking Ice Beam because it has a better damage range against the Aerodactyl. And against the Dragonite, of course. So, Ice Beam has a 68.6% chance to one-hit the Aerodactyl at level 65. I didn't feel it was worth going up higher levels to get a better damage range there, because I thought that, like, sometimes this happens, where you just make it through, you have, like, tons of health, you're like, it's fine, like, I'll just survive whatever the Aerodactyl throws at me. And it can also do bad things, like miss a Hyper Beam, Swift does almost nothing. So in general, I didn't feel it was like worth the extra time. The Gyarados is the main threat. I have it managed with Rock Slide, 85.2% chance to 2-hit. That was good enough for me. Going to a higher level to make things perfectly consistent is just going to be consistency for consistency's sake. I'm not trying to get the time lower. Okay, champion. The Cloister here, once again, is kind of problematic, but like Marowak, Dugtrio can utilize the Mimic Thunderbolt strategy from the Magneton. It's actually nice the Magneton exists in this case. I can't believe I'm saying that, but like this is the one scenario where it's actually like, oh, there's a Magneton. That's really nice for me. I also toyed around with the idea of mimicking Hypnosis, because Hypnosis has a 60% chance to put the Cloister to sleep, whereas Thunderbolt only has a 23% chance to one-hit the Cloister. Because of that, if you can't survive the things that the Cloister does to you, it's a problem. Now, I got badge boosted once, that helps, and I also can crit the Cloister, which is upside for Dugtrio, which is what happens in this case, so. I clock in with my final time of 47 minutes and 50 seconds with 9 resets at level 67. By the way, this was 47 minutes and 51 seconds the first time I played it. Again, the small discrepancy between using the replay file to refilm this is what causes that difference. It was 13 minutes and 8 seconds faster than my first playthrough. Big improvement, quite happy with it. Overall, I'm happy with this strategy using Dugtrio. I think if there was anything I could change, 3 more levels for the rival and Sylph, and then figure out how the downstream impact of that forces me to do a few more trainer battles, route those in, minimize some resets, and I think this thing can go under 45 minutes. It got a really good game time, 2 hours and 57 minutes, but for now, this is where it's going to be ranked. I'm sure I'll come back to this one at some point in the future and give it another go. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Sandslash is going to be out tomorrow, and that'll be that for this giant series. You're incredible. I'll see you in the next video.